Hello, and welcome to Scott's Odyssey. After a really long trip, I've just landed in a location known for its red clay earth, as well as a common sighting of a saucer-shaped, unidentified flying object. Welcome to Mars, Pennsylvania. See you in a minute. Welcome back. If you've watched my videos before, thank you for your patronage. And if you're new to Scott's Odyssey, welcome aboard. I hope you enjoyed this story of the ODDySEEy site in Mars, Pennsylvania. Take a moment to click subscribe and give me a like for more ODDySEEy stories of who we once were. Along Breakneck Creek, Samuel Parks decided to construct his home and a grist mill in 1873. For an unknown reason, but most likely to garner foot traffic to the grist mill, Parks wanted a post office placed within his homestead. In order to accomplish this, Parks reached out to his friend, Judge Samuel Marshall, to help establish the location for a postal service in the area. We may get into it in another video, but Judge Samuel Marshall is also the core portion of a story regarding the historical significance of the Mars station as a first stop along the former slave underground railroad north of Pittsburgh. You see, Judge Samuel Marshall was not just a prominent man of the judicial cloth, but was also a man who housed escaping slaves during the day in his home, waiting for night to fall to send them off to the next station. This created an issue when some plantation owners out of Virginia accosted the Marshall's wife at gunpoint seeking their property, ultimately leading to a story of the first bloodshed before the Civil War regarding the freedom of slaves in the United States. Anyway, back to Mars. When the post office was established, it was named Overbrook. Later in 1877, the Pittsburgh, Newcastle, and Lake Erie Railroad built a station that passed through Overbrook. Since there was already a railroad stop named Overbrook, the community renamed itself to Mars in 1882. In 1897, Mars became home to the Mars Train Depot, which today is the last railroad depot still standing of the Pittsburgh and Western Railroad, using a Swedish narrow gauge railway similar to the East Broad Top at 914 millimeters or 3 feet in size. Speculation is that the name is a shortening of Judge Samuel Marshall's last name, and some say it's because the wife of Samuel Parks enjoyed astronomy, so she was given the ability to designate the name of this town based on what she liked to look at in the night sky. If you read the founding marker sign of the borough, it claims that the borough was, and I quote, named after the star of Mars in 1875 instead of saying planet in 1877, which shows you what happens when people actually do not do any research and just believe what they are told and try to pass it off as a fact. Either way, Mars was formally incorporated as a borough in 1895, and the residents officially became termed as, you guessed it, Martians. In 1963, the U.S. Navy created a new class of combat stores, or essentially a military cargo ship for the United States Navy. The first of these auxiliary fast store ships, or AFS, was named Mars, which led to naming of this new class of ship the Mars class. Typically, these ships were named after mythological figures, stars, and only in some cases cities. Although no formal record of the ship's name is documented as being actually named after the borough of Mars, more than likely it was garnered through the god of war, who provided the weapons stores for soldiers, just as this class of ship was doing for the U.S. Navy. Former U.S. Senator of Pennsylvania and former crewman of the USS Mars, Rick Santorum, had the USS Mars ship bell donated to the borough in 2006 post-decommissioning of this ship. Let me know in the comments below if you know of stories and locations such as Mars, Pennsylvania. My research is limited only by the information that people do not share openly. Help me break that barrier, and let's share the history and culture of who we once were. Because of its name, the borough of Mars has garnered some interest from people who like to delve into weird and oddly named cities throughout the world. So if there's a book or a movie or a song that relates to Mars, there's always a good chance that this little borough may be found lurking in its photos, or maybe even in a lyric. As a matter of fact, Mars even has its own song called The Song of Mars by Doyle S. Schwab, written for the 1973 centennial. Unfortunately, I could not find this song playing anywhere, and the copy of the sheet music I got was barely legible for me to put forth a reproduction. But if you can decipher it and play it, I'd be more than happy to showcase your rendition on this channel. In 1976, the British Broadcasting Company, or BBC, visited this site in order to produce a feature film called Mars, The Viking Mission, which was released in 1979 and talks about the 5 successful Mars missions by the United States starting all the way back in 1964. During the height of the crop circle phenomenon in the 90s, which were claimed to be messages from Mars, a local artist decided to cash in on the fun by creating an iconic 1940s-style flying saucer out of a couple of old oil tanks weighing in at over 3,000 pounds. According to the news article, the original saucer just appeared one day without explanation. It's been recorded to move around a bit over time, but for the most part, it now sits at this intersection of Pittsburgh and Grant. The reality for its moving is due to the need for the space during the annual Apple Festival in September, when the saucer is moved to the Mars picnic shelter down by the train station. Now, for the reason why we are actually here in Mars, aside from the ability to show you a roadside attraction, let me explain. Unlike the Earth, which rotates around the sun every 365 days, 5 hours, 59 minutes, and 16 seconds, Mars takes a longer route of 687 Earth days, or being that a Martian day is 39 minutes and 35 seconds longer than an Earth day, 668 Mars days. And on this day, February 7th of 2021, we celebrate the 36th Martian New Year. What's that? Why only 36? Well, that's an interesting story as well. Up until 1985, nobody ever thought that we would need to keep track of what year it was on another planet. Thomas Gangel was an aerospace engineer and space jurist, or someone who helps establish laws governing space-related activities, rules, principles, and international agreements. He established a system of timekeeping in order to serve the purpose of future human settlements on the planet Mars. This system of timekeeping is called the Daryan calendar, based on Gangel's son, Darius, and it was established in 1985, officially published in 1986, and not to be fully indoctrinated until 1998 by the Mars Society, with some minor augmentation. Since 1964, there have been about 50 missions to Mars, of which almost 2/3 have failed to reach the red planet for one reason or another. Needless to say, Mars is quite a hotspot in our solar system when it comes to off-world road trips. As a matter of fact, in just 2 days of this recording on Tuesday, February 9th, the first deep space explorer of the United Arab Emirates, the Emirati Hope Orbiter, will be dropping into the Mars atmosphere in order to garner weather and atmospheric data to send back to Earth. The next day, on Wednesday, February 10th, the Chinese Tianwen-1 mission will begin orbit of the red planet as it settles in to drop a lander with a rover and begin their Mars exploration. And as if that's not exciting enough, just a little more than a week later, NASA's Perseverance rover will land with the very specific mission of seeking signs of life, and also release the Ingenuity, the very first tandem rotor helicopter for extraterrestrial exploration. Typically, this borough would be buzzing with space enthusiasts, engineers, special visitations, and presentations from NASA, JPL, Carnegie, as well as costume contests, Firefly drone shows, music, food, and all the people I love to surround myself with, or as I like to call them, weirdos. The event kicked off in 2016 the first time in Mars, Pennsylvania, in order to promote the NASA move to colonization of Mars in 2033. Unfortunately, there's not a lot going on here for this Martian New Year, due to the obvious constrictions set forth by questionable authorities. Maybe it'll be different on December 26th of 2022. What is even more exciting is knowing that SpaceX is right on schedule for getting their Starship out to Mars and back within the next 6 months, which means we will be right on schedule to have people arrive on Mars for its 38th new year in November of 2024. So if you're ever looking to take a short off-world trip while still remaining on this blue marble we call home, remember to stop by and take a look around or schedule up for the next New Year's celebration in the borough of Mars, Pennsylvania. If you haven't already, remember, click like on this video and subscribe for more ODDySEEy stories of who we once were. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.